Hey everyone, welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged, like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and I got a story for you. Wi-Fi chopped off. This is in Cyprus. I got a call to go and see why a customer's internet was running very slow. I went to the customer's home, which was in a complex, and yes, the internet was very slow, and I mean very slow. I took a look at the router and the light was flashing like mad all the time. So I turned off his computer and the light was still flashing. Then I asked him, "Have you given the Wi-Fi code to anyone else?" And he said yes. So I rebooted his computer and entered the codes to get into the router and then changed the Wi-Fi password and rebooted the router. And the Wi-Fi light stopped flashing. It turned out the man he had given the Wi-Fi code to had told someone else and it had been passed all around the complex. A lot of people were not happy at no internet. I also told him to not tell anyone the new password. Yep, being friendly can sometimes turn around and bite you right in the butt. I'll give my family members my Wi-Fi password, and there's a few other people that I'll give the guest password to, but at least then I can kind of keep some kind of control over it. That isn't a feature. That's a fire. Heard a story today that made me recall something from when I was in college working IT. Thought others might get a chuckle out of it. In the early 2000s, I was working IT for the university I attended. One day we were short our normal people that answer the phones and put in tickets, so I was covering the phones for an hour since things were slow in the repair room. I got what was the oddest call I ever dealt with. Given that this is 20 years ago, I don't recall everything verbatim, but I do recall that it's very close to how it went. Me. Thank you for calling the IT department. How can I help you today? Professor. Hi, this is Professor Smith. I need to know what button to press on my keyboard to turn off the smoke from my computer. Me. I'm sorry. Can you say that again? I don't think I heard you correctly there. Professor. Yes, there is black smoke coming from my computer. My entire office is full of smoke and it's going down the hall bothering people in other offices. I've had several people come and complain about it. I need to know which key on the keyboard I need to press to turn off the smoke so that I can get my work done. Me. Well, that isn't a feature, sir. That's your computer on fire. I need you to unplug it right away and move anything flammable away from it. It'll take me about 45 seconds to get across campus to your office. I can't turn it off. I'm working on stuff that's very important at the moment. I just need to turn the smoke off. I don't know what button I pressed to turn the smoke on, but I just need to know how to turn it off. Me. Sir, that is a fire. That is no button that you can press to turn on smoke. That is not a feature that any computer has or would ever need. Please, I need to hang up and get over to you before you burn the building down. I need you to please turn the computer off. At this point, my supervisor's standing there from having heard me talking on the phone and was wondering what was going on. I finally told the professor I needed to give him to somebody else real quick. Handed my supervisor the phone and gave him a quick overview of the issue and told him to deal with this guy while I go stop the building from burning down and took off running. I get to the building where the professor was at, I run up the 3 flights of stairs, and as soon as I open the door, there's a haze in the hall. Somebody just points the direction I needed to go. I get down the hall, and the professor tells me that his computer shut itself off, and now I can't get it to turn back on. His tower was under stacks of papers, so I'm surprised they didn't have something other than just burning electronics in there. Even as I was unplugging everything, he still couldn't grasp that there was a fire or something burning inside of his computer. He even made a comment to somebody that came in to see if everything is okay that he doesn't know why we would give people computers that you can turn smoke off and on. He never had a computer like that before and doesn't make any sense to have them smoke. Even that person was puzzled as to why he thought that was just something built into the computer and couldn't grasp that it was on fire. I love to think that all these years later he's still trying to find the button he pressed to turn on the smoke and how some mean IT guy wouldn't just tell him how to turn it off without making some big deal about it. Yep, sometimes the smarter people are, the dumber they are. And he obviously had a lack of listening skills besides. I never used Excel before. Didn't know that's how it worked. My Helldesk horror story of the week. We recently had an employee transfer from our least technically apt department to a slightly more technically apt department. This always results in an annoying few days for me because our managers firmly believe that the T in IT stands for trainer. They give their new hires a super broad overview of what to do, and when they can't figure it out, the managers tell them to put in a help desk ticket, so I can teach them the basic computer functionality they should have already known before being considered for employment. But I digress. So almost immediately I get a ticket from new user that he can't open a spreadsheet. I go through the basics, i.e. any error messages, you don't have permission, file locked, Excel not responding, yada yada. Nope, user just clicks the file, waits a few minutes, and nothing ever happens. I remote into the user's computer and have them show me what's going on. I see the user open File Explorer, browse to a directory. I see the mouse move over to a spreadsheet. I see the file highlight when clicked, and then nothing. Okay. I put a blank Excel file into that directory and tell the user to open it. Same thing, nothing happens. I have them copy the file to their desktop and try to open. Still nothing. Have the user open a Word doc in that directory. It works. Okay, now I'm intrigued. I have the user launch Excel from the taskbar, go to File, Open, and open the spreadsheet. That works. Now I'm befuddled. I open the file on my computer to make sure it's not corrupt in some weird way that would only affect how it's opened. Hey, stranger things have happened. Checked user's permissions, file directory, and account. Even though I didn't think that would be the case since the file does actually open inside of Excel. SFC, DISM, repair office installation, all to no avail. Restored a previous version of the file from backup. Nothing. I tell the user to go to lunch, and meanwhile I will uninstall and reinstall Office from scratch. User leaves and I hop on their computer. For shiggles, I give one last attempt to open this spreadsheet before I uninstall Office, and it works immediately. I'm dismayed, discouraged, and confused, but who am I to question when things randomly decide to work properly? It still hasn't occurred to me that I missed something vital. I notify new user that problem is solved. A little while later I get a response that it's not fixed. New user still can't open Excel files. What the actual F? Mad Googling ensues. Whilst I question all of my life choices, I get another reply. New user. Hey, I fixed it. You can close my ticket out. Me, in unfathomable disbelief. Wait, what? Seriously? New user. Yeah, lol. I didn't know I had to double click Excel files to open them. I've never used it before. Me, just now starting to realize what was happening. What do you mean you didn't know to double click? New user. Well, I never used Excel before. When I open it from the taskbar, I just click it once. I thought that's how you opened the files. Me. But I watched you open a Word doc? New user. Yeah, that's how I always open Word. I just double click the file I need and Word opens. I didn't know Excel did that. Me, summoning my inner Tuvok. That is completely illogical. So all the times I told you to open a spreadsheet and was watching you, you just clicked them once? New user. Yeah, lol. Sorry about that. Head meet desk. Desk meet head. I never actually considered that it would be possible that someone would be single-clicking a file instead of double-clicking it. And after I picked my jaw up off the floor, I couldn't believe I actually had to explain to a user that to open files they needed to be double-clicked. All files. For every program. All the time. For the past 30 effing years. All in all, I learned a valuable lesson from this. No matter how long you've been shackled to the Helldesk, no matter how much you think you know about everything, no matter how jaded you've become with stupid users over the years, never, ever overlook the absolute simplest, stupidest, mind-numbingly basic troubleshooting steps. Because users are stupid, and you need to be able to think equally as stupid. I can't even respond, man. So the user, I guess, never made the connection that both of those files come from the same basic Office program, that they would open the same way, or that most files open with a double click. I mean, at least they weren't a jerk about it, but still, come on, man. Doctor plus empty printer. I started working in IT about 5 years ago. First in project deployments, then 6 months in and I was moved to user support. So I get a call while at lunch down the street marked urgent from the head of oncology. So I hurry to finish lunch. In the span of the 5 minutes it takes me to finish eating and rush back to the building, he's called 3 more times for an update. So I arrive on the scene. The doctor is flustered and informing me he has an important meeting to get to and the printer just won't work, and he doesn't understand why. Keep in mind he has 4 other printers in the area but wanted to use the one in his office. I check the printer. It says, "Please load paper." I load paper. It immediately starts printing. I inform the doctor and he tells me, "It's not my job to know if there's paper in a printer. It's my job to save lives." At that moment I had to decide whether I wanted to keep my job or punch this old man in the head. I chose to keep my job and told him, Okay, well, there's paper now, and walked away. I think about this interaction often because I don't know how you can go to medical school for all those years but can't read that the printer has no paper. Oh, he can read all right, OP. He just doesn't want to be bothered. There's a certain mentality, and it's not just doctors. I've seen it with people who make, $18,000 a year too, where they just can't be bothered to use their brain for anything other than one specific task. Whether it's in a hobby, in a career, you name it. Just can't waste any brain cells on anything outside of your specialized field. Before I even had my coffee. This one is pretty short and not that wild, but the Karen, the user, was especially annoying, so I'll tell it. It's a little after starting time. I walk in a little late because, frankly, I don't want to be here anymore, but bills. Before I could hook up my laptop to the many cables on my desk, there's no docking station, the phone rings. Karen, when I send emails out of myself, the customers reply and it goes to the customer service inbox. I need this changed now. This is very annoying. How am I expected to work like this? Me, you send it as yourself? Karen, yes, I need this to stop now. How am I supposed to know when my customers respond to me? I'm calling BS in my head, but already tired before 9 a.m. I'm in no mood to argue, and if I did, it would come off way too snarky, and I still need this job. I promised to visit her desk in a minute or so. Luckily, she's only a few steps from me. I get there and ask her to send me a test email whilst I watched and waited for it on my phone. This Karen selects new email, then selects customer service account in the form box and hits send. I cringe, facepalm, and groan internally all at once. Patiently point out that she has two options to send emails from and she just needs to make sure her account is selected and that it will default to the last box chosen. After I explained all this, she replies, "Oh, that's right, I forgot I had to do that." So at no point did it click for her that if the customers are getting her emails from the customer service mailbox, that she should check the setting that she obviously knows existed and is used correctly before. Luckily, the day was less stupid after that. Yeah, see, that makes it even worse. This lady's done this before. She knows that she has to click on the right box to send or receive emails in a certain way. She just forgot. Amazing. I can't print. Man, there's a lot of printer stuff today. Got a ticket from Helpdesk to help a user on site that could not print at all. Apparently the user could not print for the last 3 days and was in a big emergency to print. After looking over the Helpdesk notes, they had tried everything between having the end user try different USB ports and downloading and installing printer firmware. So I walk into the user's office after getting the ticket assigned to me. User at his desk and is so gracious by my attendance there and says, "I haven't been able to print for days and Helpdesk tried everything they could do. And the green light isn't showing on the printer either." This is when the light bulb goes off in my head. I immediately look behind his printer to see the power was unplugged. I plug it in. Turn on the printer. Boom! It starts printing. Sometimes it's the little things we miss. Okay, so the guy was polite, I'll give him that, and grateful to have somebody trying to help him. So he gets points for that. But come on, man, when something electronic doesn't work, one of the first things you do is see if there's power to it. Are the cables hooked up? Power, network, whatever. I can't sign into the portal. I work for a large private university in Arizona. I got a call from an older online student that was as follows. "Thank you for calling tech support. I'm Tasso. What seems to be the issue today?" "I'm unable to log into the portal." "Okay, ma'am, I'm sure that we can get this figured out for you. Would you please go to the login screen for me?" "Okay, would you like me to sign out then?" "Sign out of what, ma'am?" "The portal." "Ma'am, you are already logged into the portal." "Oh, thank you for your help." And they end the call. I'm confused, man. So she knew that she had to log out of the portal, but she didn't realize she was already logged into the portal. How's that possible? It's universal. While I'm not in IT, this does involve support for technology. Happened earlier in the night. Our shop prepares the various steel pieces you might see at a construction site to build buildings. Had a brief power outage. Very brief. Power came back on in less than a minute later. Not uncommon, but can have differing effects on the machines. Less than 30 minutes later, a coworker tracks me down. The saw he was running wouldn't start the blade since the outage, and wondered if I knew how to fix it. Having trained this guy on the saw, I knew this was something new for him, so I went over to have a look. Sure enough, trying to start a cut fails to start the blade. Flip the machine over to blade tracking mode to see if it's the blade or wheels were jammed. Nope, blade can start just fine. Machine just couldn't do it for an actual cut. Not having any options or settings to play with, I went with the old standard. Turned the machine off, waited a few seconds, power has to clear for a true restart, and turned it back on. Worked like a charm. It's amazing how many jobs the old turn it off and then back on trick can be applied to. This is something I've tried to explain in my house over and over to my kids and my wife. Checking the power cords, checking your internet connection, whether it's a cable or Wi-Fi, and if things are really stuck, just turn the damn thing off and unplug it, and then plug it back in and turn it on, or do a full power cycle, whatever. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this video, would you do me a favor? Would you consider giving this video a like, subscribe to the channel, maybe click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories, and maybe share it around all your friends. Maybe they'd like these stories too. See ya.